Okay, thank you. So now we can proceed with our next subject, which is on the follow-up action. And again, I would like to invite the three panelists, Professor Adi Utarini, Pak Budi, and Pak Wirisma, to join me up front here and guide us through the follow-up action discussions. Okay, so this is about follow-up action. We've had so much inputs, we've had so much discussions. Now it boils down to, okay, what to do now for the next 4 weeks at the least before we submit the proposals, what are the essential things, what we need to discuss and agree on for the next coming weeks. And I would like to invite the three panelists here, starting with perhaps Professor Adu Tarini, just to give us some ideas on how we would like to start these discussions, to trigger the discussions.
Just to start the discussion, I think in the morning presentations, I had one slide about the steps, and I think this is what we want to have from these sessions. We have 1 month left in May, where we are supposed to have very important moments. We need to submit the proposal, and we need to have the format of the consortium formulated and finalized. So I think what I propose that we do now is that we clearly identify the small steps leading to that in May we will all have the proposals submitted to Pak Agus Mariono, and that we have the MOU signed maybe first within the 5 universities, and in the meantime we need to consult to the university also how should we do it with the German universities. So that's my suggestion, Pak Yodi, and within that we could put the steps in more detailed with all the inputs from the audiences.
Okay. Any addition from Pak Budi, Pak Wisma? Additional points?
Yeah, I think it's great idea from Professor Adi that we have to think about how we will facilitate to accomplish our proposal, as well as we have to identify each PIC from each university, so we will make a good contact. For example, from Gajah Mada, it's quite easily to contact for each PIC from each university, and then we have also to think about how to facilitate the communication, because it's a bit. We have a different place, and then sometimes we have different islands, so it's much more efficient. We can do something like we use IT, or we use Skype, or we use a teleconference to discuss for something more effective. I think that's what my idea about.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Pak Wisma, you have something to add?
Thank you. I think after this workshop, we back to our university and try to set up the global health institutions in our university. Maybe the name like the Pusat Kajian Global Health, and the member of this institution is from the public health, clinic, biomedic, and pharmacy, or from the biology. And this institution will be set up as the member that responsibility to complete the proposal and maybe to running this program. I think on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, taking all of this into account, what I would propose is to make it practical, then we dive into practically a work plan for the next 4 weeks. So, Nandi, perhaps you can go into a PowerPoint mode and make a matrix, a work plan. the steps going down, and then going there you would have like 4 weeks. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Would that be something agreeable? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So here are the steps and 5 columns. 5 columns. Okay. Okay, so then you put there week 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, just to add on that, Pak Yodi, MOU will be the critical part, isn't it, that we have. So I would like to propose, because what we have now is more of the PIC, more for the proposal revision. That's what we have. We have Pak Budi, we have from Andalas, we have from the university. That's for the content of the proposal. And I think what we need also is who do we need to liaise, because for the MOU, then from UGM part, I think it would be at the faculty level, and we need to know who at the university level that we need to know in order to process the MOU. So perhaps I would suggest there's also PIC for the legal part, so we know who to contact while communicating also with the PIC for the proposal.
So below in the work plan, then we would have a list of the PI, the contact person for the legals, and so below in the work plan, below the
Just
table.
put the legal aspects.
Yeah.
And then under that we have to get the MOU and the PIC and the
Maybe just we come back to the slide then. I mean, okay, on the first step, in your slide was first the MOU.
the legal,
Yeah. Okay.
legal
So
aspects.
come back to the first row, legal aspect, and then sub row after that. Just the second row, it's okay. Second row. Then you have the MOU. Next row, organization structure. Next row, steering committee and secretariat. And then next row, secretariat committee and secretariat. And then the next row is a coordinator and PIC, if I'm correct. So that was the points in the slide. And then other rows, but insert more rows. What other steps there? Editing, yes, very important. And reviewing, perhaps.
Two types, Pak Yodi, PIC for the proposal, and then we need for the legal, and who
Okay.
would follow up with the university
so
level.
PIC in brackets, propose legal and content. Legal and content. Yeah. Okay. Editing, reviewing, other key steps. Other suggestions for steps within these 4 weeks? The subsequent workshops, meetings. Okay, so proposal development workshops. Okay, proposal finalization workshop. Proposal finalization workshops. Hopefully really fun. And in between, I mean, we can also, that's the face-to-face meeting, and we can also have some Skype conferences before that, perhaps. Yeah. So for example, the teleconferences to put there.
Actually, at the moment we have a
mailing list.
We have a mailing list, but
Yeah.
we already have a mailing list, but we have to invite other people who already participate in this forum, so we can add them, so the all information can be shared around to everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, that's the steps for the moment, unless there are other additional suggestions for important steps. Professor Rika?
Yeah, this is the points that we write from Indonesian side. Do we also have some points from Germany sides in terms of MOU as well as the commitment of the collaboration for climate change and NCD?
Okay. How do we go about in these 4 weeks bringing in the German partners? What's happening with the German partners? It's also something which you need to discuss with Pak Agus, perhaps. I mean, how the work of the German side, the MOU.
Yeah, for me, this would be with Pak Agus and with the university, with the Bu Ika. They will be more in charge with dealing with the external partners. Yeah, yeah. To put, yeah.
So MOU is not just for the Indonesian side. So MOU in brackets for the Indonesian partners, but also in the German partners. Just to keep that in mind, that we need to decide on, inter and. Okay.
But for overview of the contents itself, because it will be involve several Germany institution and our institution, should in addition to Heidelberg, other professors at other Germany institutions should also be informed and approved and give some before we submit the proposal. They at least they read and they approve the points that we propose to have for the collaboration for this scheme.
I think absolutely. So the question is, will we wait for the next version, or do you want me to circulate the minutes of this meeting and the current version? That's a good idea. Yes. So that's what we discussed, and I want you to be on board. And do you have any suggestion? And then I channel this to you. I collect and then channel to you. So we can put this. So seeking feedback from
the German
entire
partners.
German team. That would
Additional
be
row, Nandi.
a task.
So what I would suggest, what is immediate is the minutes can be shared, but for the version, perhaps we wait for the revision, because there's still some revisions coming out from the notes that we had today. So I mean, the version that we have at the moment still needs to be revised. So I think it would be better if we wait for at least next week or until we get a revised version of this one. Okay. Others? Okay, if not, then we can go into the timelines, I guess. So, legal aspect, which takes about the MOU. Any insights, any ideas on when this needs to be get done?
Yeah, from UGM part, I think this will be taken care of by the DAK, Direktorat Administrasi Kerjasama, that in charge of the collaboration within the country. So I've already mentioned to Bu Ika that we'll try within next week already the draft will be circulated to other 5 universities, and from the beginning we can make the English and the Indonesian version, and to get a response maybe from each university.
Okay, so week 1 draft MOU circulated to
Draft
Indonesian
circulated,
partners.
but yeah.
Second row, yeah. Draft MOU circulated to Indonesian partners.
And for that, I think for today we really need the person in charge for legal, for the legal part as well as for the proposal is already there. But the legal part, we need to know who we can contact in FK Unsud, in Andalas for the legal part.
Okay, perhaps we can identify now. Yeah. So Nandi, on the below the tables, write the PIC for legal from which institutions. So we start with UGM. This is going to be who's going to be the legal?
And Bu Ika at the
Dewi
university.
And Bu Ika. That's for UGM. So UGM, Bu Dewi, Bu Ika. No, just one line. UGM, Bu Dewi, Bu Ika. For UGM. And for the other universities, Sudirman.
Faculty, can we add Mbak Rahma?
Okay.
Mas Nandi.
From Sudirman. This is for the legal aspect, not for the content. For the MOU, so it was more of the administration.
For the legal, from vice rector, maybe below the vice rector.
Yeah.
For cooperation.
Berikutnya nanti Sudirman.
Kalau di kami di bawah WR kerjasama, Bu Retno ada direktur kerjasama Bu Ika yang kemarin kita bertemu, kemudian ada di bawahnya lagi direktorat yang untuk kerjasama dalam negeri, yaitu yang kami memasukkan. Monggo.
Maybe we put Pak Budi Rustomo at the first, and then the second Kasubag kerjasama mungkin
Budi Rustomo.
Yeah, and from the faculty, Pak Agung from the faculty dari FK, Pak Agung, di bawah Pak Agung PD1 ya Pak kerjasama. Agung di Saprastia, Dr. Agung di Saprastia, MS,
Prastia.
MPH or MS.
Oke, baik, itu dari Sudirman. Dari Mula Warman, silakan.
Profesor Wawan Gustiawan.
Mula Warman, Profesor Wawan Gustiawan. Itu beliau wakil rektor International Affair, oke. Dalam kurung International Affair. Enggak, Vice Rector bukan. Kantor kepala bagian Direktorat International Affair. Di tingkat fakultas ada? Tidak ada yang di tingkat fakultas untuk memfollow up ini. Untuk
yang menangani MOU kerjasama di tingkat fakultas.
Siapa?
Legu. BLEGO.
Blego. BLEGO. Blego. BLEGO. Ya.
Lego.
Dokter Blego atau dokter? Pak Blego gitu aja. Oh Pak, ya, Blego sebagai beliau wakil tingkat 1. Oke, cukup. Dari Andalas, silakan.
Maaf, Andalas Prof. Helmi, Vice Rector, and Professor Yan Wirasti from Medical Faculty. Yan Wirasti.
Posisinya sebagai, maaf Pak Wes.
charge of the biomedic laboratory, maybe. Biomedic laboratory.
Ya udah, nggak apa.
Laboratory.
Nggak apa. Ya, lab biomedik. Lab biomedik. Dari Undip. Dua-duanya. Prof. Sultana, beliau adalah PR4-nya. Kemudian dari tingkat fakultas, Prof. Zainal. Prof. Zainal Mutakin sebagai PD4. Okay, so we have now the contact persons for the legal aspects. Now, perhaps I think it will be useful also to clarify who are the PIC for the content at this point, because some people might think, might not be clear who are actually the people. So under that, then we have PIC for the content. Yeah. So the one person who is involved, okay, from Unsud, Pak Budi. Yang UGM masih dirahasiakan tadi katanya. Bukan saya yang merahasiakan. Semuanya dirahasiakan. Ini buat yang sudah transparan gitu. Unsud Pak Budi Haji, oke. Sudah tidak rahasia Pak Budi. Pak Budi Haji, oke. Dari Unmul, monggo kalau tambah satu lagi juga Bu Eri. Bu Eri. Ya ini artinya yang dalam 4 minggu nanti akan intens untuk ikut mereview, merevise. Dan yang mungkin selama ini sudah masuk juga supaya tidak terlalu susah untuk ngebut. Dari Unmul, Pak Ade ditemani Prof. Dedi Haryanto. Hadrianto. Oke. Dari Unan, Pak Wisma Arif. Andani. Untuk ini. Oke, dari Undip. Dari Undip. Oke.
Kalau mungkin yang dari FKM-nya Pak, yang dulu pernah dikontak, Bu Oni apa itu? Iya.
Oke, untuk sementara yang sudah jelas dulu Pak Zulfa ya, Pak Zulfa, dan kemudian yang ZUL Pak, Z, bukan S tapi Z, Zulfa, ya, sama dengan Pak Dokter, langsung PD1-nya untuk kontennya untuk artinya beliau nanti ikut menulis. Ini nulisnya. Untuk Pak Sulfa aja. Ya udah Pak Sulfa aja dulu. Karena ini maksudnya memang tim penulisnya untuk ininya. Oke, Bu Titi, Bu Adi, sama Pak Yodi. Kalau 3 ini tidak dirahasiakan.
Yang dirahasiakan itu kan koordinator konsorsium di universitas, itu yang dirahasiakan. Kalau ini rahasia umum.
Oke.
Pak Yudi, ini kan masing-masing, artinya ini hanya sebagai PIC toh, karena masing-masing universitas kemudian punya lebih banyak
Di belakangnya
timnya
ada
kan
krim
lebih
grupnya.
banyak. Tapi artinya untuk
Untuk
kita
yang rutin.
berkomunikasi, kemudian PIC yang konten ini kami mohon bantuannya juga untuk meliaise dengan PIC yang legalnya. Karena mungkin paling tidak membrief beliau-beliau apa yang terjadi selama 2 hari. Jadi ketika nanti kami mengirimkan MOU, mungkin beliau-beliau juga tidak kaget ini MOU apa. Jadi mungkin nanti mohon bantuan.
Oke, ya. Jadi PIC nanti melihat ke yang MOU tadi juga melihat ke kelompoknya tadinya, grupnya di fakultas yang legal. Jadi 2 perannya. Oke, baik. Nah, ini timelinenya baru mau kita bahas. Baru mau kembali ke timelinenya. Ini orang-orangnya dulu, korban-korbannya dulu. Baru kemudian kerjaan korbannya. Oke, jadi sementara, for the moment we have week 1 draft MOU circulated. This is at least for the Indonesian partners, and then regarding the German partners, I guess this. Yeah. So not to forget di ke bawah as the German PIC for both legal and content and everything. German PIC. Yeah, just one for now. Yeah, German PIC, Prof. Rainer, and then and then Siamolek, Pak Agus. Okay, coming up, going up. Okay, so here for the MOU, we write that week 1 draft MOU will be circulated. Anything else which needs to happen on week 1 regarding the MOU? Or perhaps the MOU of the German needs to be clarified with Siamolek by week 1, yeah? Yeah. So it should be already clarified by week 1. Yeah. So week 1, under the draft MOU circulated. Second point, yeah. MOU with German partners clarified. MOU concept, not the MOU. The MOU concept with German partner clarified. Okay. What's on week 2 for this? So we got the draft circulated on week 1, and then by week 2, what do we expect? Bu Adi, perhaps?
Is it reasonable to receive the response already from each university? Respond to the draft MOU?
So feedbacks from a response from each university is received by week 2.
Yeah. And I need,
week 2.
I also think that
Response from each university.
we need to have proximate dates for signing the MOU.
Okay.
If we could agree on in which week at least the MOU
So
signing.
they're week 3 or week 4. So okay, this is just my thought. Please react on this. So I would suggest, for example, week 3 is finalization from the MOU for the MOU, and week 4 is the signing. So week 3 is MOU finalization after getting feedback from each universities, and week 4 is signing, MOU sign. How's that? By week 4, the MOU is signed. Week 4, same time, yeah. Sign and then submit. It depends. I don't know. Would that be possible? Depends because I don't know. Who core has to review and these kinds of things, or there is this process.
Ya, mungkin sebagai gambaran, Prof, kalau di UGM MOU kan nanti draftnya kami usulkan dari fakultas, kemudian fakultas masuk ke kerjasama, kemudian direview oleh Hukor, hukum organisasi, kemudian ketika sudah oke dari sisi draftnya, kemudian baru diproses untuk signing. Dan mungkin juga mengingat saya nggak tahu juga kesibukan Pak Rektor tentu saja untuk acara-acara seperti ini. Jadi mungkin the latest-nya minggu keempat ya, Prof, the latest. Tapi kalau kita bisa mengusahakan itu lebih awal, tentu mungkin akan lebih baik.
Oke.
Karena memang week 4 ini sudah the latest juga kita untuk submit proposal yang dilampiri oleh MOU yang sudah sign.
Okay. So it goes parallel between the MOU and the proposals. So we aim at the latest week 4, but if things speed up, then maybe week 3 it's already signed. If things speed up, but here at least we put a safe scenario that by week 4 it's there. Okay. And then so that's for the MOU bits. Next row, organization structure. What's going to happen on week 1? Can we add another one? Last row Nandi. Launching. Launching is the signing or the submission, or is that the same with the signings? Okay. So consortium launched on week 4. Does everybody agree? Consortium launched by week 4. Okay. Okay. So now back to organization structure. What needs to be done in week 1 for organization structure? Perhaps we look back to the organization structure in Abu Ud's slide just to refresh there was. Let's see. Their organizing committee, steering committee. That's all. So it's actually there already.
I don't know if we need to put some more in the consortium. I don't have many experiences in consortium. So if we need to put anything more in addition to steering committee and organizing committee, maybe.
Okay. And so this is open for discussion about the Nandi, please come back to that slide. For the organization, at the moment the proposal is to have steering committee and we have organizing committee. So if there are any idea suggestions for other parts of the organization, Professor Solberg, please.
What about the scientific advisory board?
Okay. Scientific advisory board.
Luminaries from all over the world to make sure that you have a global, also intellectual input.
Okay. So Nandi, please add below that one, below the organizing committee. Another one. Yep. Scientific advisory board. Other suggestion?
Saya punya usul.
Sorry.
Ini mengenai farmasi ini, apakah bisa diletakkan di steering committee apa enggak jadi sensitif bagi mereka ini? Karena ini bisa dari perusahaan kita atau dari perusahaan dari mereka. Saya pikir mungkin kita tempatkan sebagai donor di bawah, jangan saya usul begitu. Terima kasih.
Okay, so take out the industries, cut, paste below scientific advisory board. What do we label them as?
Sponsorship.
Potential fund.
But it's that part of the structure, because now we're talking about the organization structure. Or is it's something beyond the structure then? It's outside the structure.
Yesterday, the discussion was to suggest that within the steering committee, the member could be from different organization, and then the idea was to bring in also
Industries.
persons with more access to funds, and we identify, for example, through the CSR from industries.
Okay, just to share something. For example, for the MDG, there is business representations, and for example, for health, the representative for business Novartis. Novartis sits in the MDG board to represent the business. So there's that's representing the business industry, and in the national level, for example, for TB control, there's also representative from business from APINDU, Asosiasi Pengusaha Indonesia. So that's also something which is possible to put in. I don't know if as a steering committee, not industries. So take out industries, everything, and then just take business representative, put it back to the steering committee. Yeah. So it's not a specific pharmacy or anything, but representing the business, be it APINDU or something, to be able to have representation of a business interest for potential development. Okay, business representative go up. Yep, masuk sudah masuk business representative. Okay, so those are the three elements: steering committee, organizing committee, scientific advisory board. So now,
Advisory board. This is we are inviting individuals, or is it also from the 5+5? How? Completely external, right?
With the setting up capacity, not only on their field of climate change or on their field of blood pressure control, but they should have a structural knowledge. They should have led similar organizations or programs bringing such a huge consortium together. And there are people like this.
okay,
Or you have a mix of these structural thinkers and the more scientifically focused. And it would be good if you had some ideas of names,
Okay.
so that the donor sees, oh, they've thought this through and this is a great mix.
okay.
I think yes. I
Yeah.
think that would be kind of too limited. And also there's kind of conflict of interest. How can you tell the rector of this university what you're doing is not good, or I would do it differently?
Okay, so back to the timeline, Nandi. So we add their scientific advisory board as a row under the steering committee. Under steering committee, add one row. Yeah. One more row. No, a row. Different row. Insert a row. Okay, scientific advisory board. So a suggestion would be to have a list by week 1. List, okay, and then list of potential members by week 1. Potential members. And then week 2 would be nomination and contact. And then week 3 would be acceptance, so that by week 4 we have it already. Would that be something acceptable? So by week 1 we have a list of potential experts, which we would then on week 2 we would nominate and contact, and which we hope by week 3 we have their yes or no, so that by week 4 in the proposal we already have a list.
So we want the names of the scientific advisory board to be explicitly mentioned in the proposal, or we just state that we will have the scientific advisory board with certain characteristics.
Okay. Any response to this? So there is two possibilities. We already have it by names on the proposal, or we just mention it in the proposal. We'll scientific advisory board. How do we go about this? Yeah. Yeah. A practical way perhaps would be, I mean, we tried, and if we don't have it, then we just mention in the proposal that we will. But we start by
Maybe you just give the initials.
RS.
No, just remember the slippery slope. We go down.
The initials.
Only active after everything is signed. Not in this stage. Not in this stage. No. So one of the first things to set up when everything is signed and financed, and then I think it would be good if you said a mix of very renowned personalities in the fields, in the content, in the substance areas, and who have experience also in setting up collaborative new capacity in research. If you can name a couple of people, and these have been contacted, they would be willing, it would add strength to the proposal, but it's not entirely necessary, but it would add, I think. Tony McMichael for climate change and so forth.
Okay, so can we keep it pragmatic? Just see how far we go. If we manage, we put it there, we'll make it better. If not, then we just mention it. We are in the process of appointing a scientific advisory board.
To suggest the names and maybe Pak Budi from the climate change.
Okay, so by next week, we are expecting just anybody, I guess, could throw in names, and we will have a look at it and see. Okay, that's for the scientific advisory board. Back to the steering committee. What do we want to do with the steering committee and secretariat? Go back to the slide, Pak Nandi, about steering committee. Rector, so you have also donor agencies, and again business representative, international agencies. So I think for the universities perhaps it's more or less okay, but for the others we need some process. I mean, to get the donors agencies on board, to get the business representative, international agencies. But for the rector, Siamolek and representative is more or less there. No?
Konfirmasi sekarang Bapak Ibu untuk yang steering committee kemarin diusulkan rektor dari setiap universitas, tapi ex officio kalau beliau nggak bisa hadir nanti bisa diwakilkan. Mungkin mengenai hal ini sudah oke ya Bapak Ibu. Ya.
Yeah. So for the rector, it's agreed as part of the steering committee. Okay. Back to the timeline. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what perhaps needs to be clarified about the rector is already confirmed, no need any process for that, and then for the German partner, I think it's also, we can confirm it's Professor Sauerborn. Yes? Yes. The steering committee.
Writing you an email.
Okay. Back to the slide, Andy. So steering committee, there we have the rectors, and then we also represent the German universities, which we assume this will be you as the coordinator.
I accept the election with pride.
With pride. Okay, and then Siamolek we can ask Pa Agus on Saturday, right? So it's more of then I guess identifying the international agencies and the business representative. Yeah, it's an example. Okay, so I mean, again, then we can go back to week one, which we say that we identify week one. Week one, representatives of donor agencies, international agencies, and business representatives. Sorry. Identified, yes. Identified. And then that's the process of which one we actually then select. And then week two, we start contacting them. Okay, week two. Yes, I guess. Okay, so that the selection there, then week two should be selection, sorry. Week two, yeah. Selections of representative by all universities.
And
Yes.
what do you expect from including the donor and business community? I mean, you have already 9 members, sort of ex officio, the 5 leaders, and then the PI of the whole thing. Probably the manager should be there. You must need a manager. Then you have already, and me myself, you have already 8 or 9 people. What is GTZ? I mean, with due respect, what do you, in the steering committee, which runs the day-to-day operations and decides when do we have this workshop and when do we hire this junior group, what do they have to say in this? And the business committee, are they going to give money? I don't think so. So what was your idea behind it? You have a very unwieldy, you have 11, at least 11 plus people, and I'm wondering whether this is operational and whether it makes sense, frankly, if you allow me to be frank. So, do you need them? Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is the, you need those who really are needed to make the decisions and run the programming, the work plan, the programming, the hiring. So I agree with everything except these WHO. I mean, what would they contribute to the day-to-day management? I am not clear. Or the pharmaceutical company. Yeah, you may need them as stakeholders.
Maybe they will be
Yeah.
just the stakeholders. We need to do advocacy to
Stakeholders, to include somehow, but not in a very lean and operational committee which needs to be disciplined and talk about budget, about program and so forth.
Okay.
That's my, stakeholder. Involving stakeholders could be in meetings, in feedback conferences and so forth. I think that's their place. To keep them informed, to get their input and so forth. But in the steering committee, I think it should be very managerial and very.
No, it's all on the donor agencies, the whole set, the whole point goes down to
Yeah, I have
stakeholders.
very few experience but in running consortium. So I just listen to what you advise. If it's, I mean, definitely you have a much longer experience in running consortium. I have very few. So I maybe also listening from others' experiences. Do we really need them? But yeah, in my thought, it was more of a stakeholders rather than steering committee. But monggo, maybe Bu Retno and others have more experiences on consortium, because we did talk about that there is a risk that we are very eager in the beginning when setting up the consortium, and then as time goes by, and then the consortium becomes more silent, and then we're not sure whether the consortium is there or not. So one of the suggestions from Andalas was that should we include, or should we include someone with more of a business representative within the steering committee? But I wasn't imagining that the steering committee would really do the sort of more operation day to day. Yeah. So while in this case, steering committee is doing more of the operational.
I would maybe you can institute some even in the text that you regular meetings with the stakeholders and get their advice, but not on this kind of focused committee level. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the idea is, at least from my humble experience, that you have one person really of stature in charge of this. Otherwise, it won't work. Just as a committee, and this person is the central person in convening the steering committee, typically every month, and the scientific advisory board advises the steering committee. So whether it's directly, usually it's to the steering committee. If you do an organigram, then the steering committee invites the advisory board, gives the documents to the advisory board, please review, these are our questions to you. And then you have a scientific advisory board meeting. It's all managed by the steering committee. The hiring, the hiring of staff, the setup of courses, I mean, there's a huge, particularly managerial agenda to be accomplished. Once everything is running by its own scientific production, they are just, they have a lower workload. And the scientific advisory board is more important to review proposals and so forth. That's my opinion.
Okay, so we put the donors and representatives as stakeholders, and the proposal will put up strategies to engage them throughout the phases of the projects, be it into annual meetings, invite them in the annual meetings or other means. Okay, so we take out the steering. Okay, so that part can be taken out. Yeah, delete. So I don't know if there is anything which needs to be put in a timeline regarding steering committee, or do we take it out from the timeline, or just say that it's established by week 1? Steering committee and secretariat, would that be possible? Steering committee and secretariat established already, week 1, that's it. Done? I don't know about the secretariat, but perhaps you can give, I don't have any ideas of what's happening in the secretariat. Is it something which is already there and it's going to run next week, or it's time, or how does it?
Yeah, I think one secretary assigned for that.
Finish.
Or 1 or 2, maybe. I mean, we keep the number in minimum.
Okay. And that can be done by next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So for that particular row, established by week 1, steering committee and secretariat. Okay. And then the row after that, go down, Nandi. Yep, coordinators, not that one. Yeah, coordinators and PICs. I guess that also can be established on week 1. Yeah. So the secret will be out by week 1. And the PICs will be confirmed, because now some has to go back and confirm the PIC and ask who will be the PIC, but we have the tentative list for now.
Dan mungkin di masing-masing universitas ada proses, misalnya saya nggak tahu SK untuk koordinator, untuk tim dan sebagainya, itu kan di masing-masing universitas. Ya, untuk orang-orang yang diminta atau ditunjuk sebagai PIC dan timnya mungkin akan ada semacam SK atau POJA atau ya.
Then the next row is editing and reviewing. Okay, just thinking on top of my head, so I would guess, okay, next week is revision, the proposal revision. Just put it there first, and then we'll see proposal revisions, and then week 2 is revised proposal circulated. Yeah, revised proposal circulated for review. And then week 3, feedbacks from reviewers received. And then week 4 finalized. Yes. So at this point, who do we expect to review? Or just the partners, just the universities, or other? Yeah.
Can't get in this short time frame. We can't get an external.
Okay. So these are internal reviewers. These are among us. These are circulating reviewing among us. Okay. Is that okay? So week 1, next week we will focus on revising these proposals, and then week 2 we will circulate it, including to the German partners, which Professor Rika suggested, so that we circulate also to the other universities in Germany. And we expect by week 3 we get the feedbacks, so that we can finalize it by week 4 and submit.
And also Agus, I think,
Okay.
is he involved in this reading the proposal, because he needs to say whether we did everything to put the link to the overall debt swap programs and to the others.
Okay.
8.
So so not to forget, Nandi, perhaps down below you put down reviewers. Yeah, just reviewers, and then we have German universities, yeah, more like, not to forget to just beside our own. So reviewers are first the PICs, the PICs from the universities, and then second one from the German university. Yeah. Sorry. Yep, Prof. Rainer is going to organize that. The review from the German universities. Yeah. German universities and Siamolek, yeah, bagus. Okay, up again, go back. Okay, so the proposal finalization workshop, then I guess that has to be in week 3. Week 3, what date is actually week 3? Do we have a calendar? Put up the calendar, Nandi, there, click. Week 3. No, okay, so this, now we're on the 11th, so week 1 is 15 to 21, week 2 is 20 to 28, okay, week 3 is 29 to, okay, so between April 29 to May the 4th. What is preferable? I think we all need to check our own agendas first. I don't know either, but tentative dates. Saturday?
Kesepakatannya banyak bekerja di weekend ya Bu, ya weekend.
Atau Friday Saturday? Bukan Saturday Sunday tapi Friday Saturday
Jumat
bisa?
Sabtu begitu.
Bukan
ya.
Sabtu Minggu mungkin biar weekendnya nggak habis.
Minggu nanti banyak yang protes Bu.
Friday Saturday? Ya. Jumat malam atau Jumat siang setelah
pagi,
Jumat?
maksudnya Jumat siang mungkin ya. Pagi masih perjalanan. Jumat siang habis sholat Jumat.
Ya.
Ya.
Tanggal ya berapa kali? Kalendernya lagi tanggal berapa? Jumatnya berarti tanggal 3 ya. Berarti 3-4 April tentatif. Nanti kita konfirmasi lagi. Mei, maaf, 3-4 Mei. 3-4 Mei tentatif. Finalization workshop. Ya. Week 3. Yeah, already. May, 3-4 May. And perhaps if, yeah, and we'll see whether that, during those dates we can also organize. Week 1 coming back, Nandi. So week 1 is next week, 15 to 20. Okay, put on the week 1, 15 to 20 on the top so that we don't forget. Week 1, March 15, 20. 15, 20 April, and then after that week 2, just follow. 22 to 27. And then week 3. Twenty-nine to 4. 29 April to 4 May. And then week 4. Six until 11. Okay. Okay, going down. And then we have teleconference and mailing list. Yeah, I would propose to have a teleconference on week 2 before we with the workshop finalization, so that if there are other we can already discuss some of the issues before the workshop finalization, so it will be quicker during the workshop finalization. So week 2 teleconference organized. Okay, yeah, tanggal Friday afternoon, so that's 26. April 26. Okay. Feedback from the German team, that's the same time as week 2, so that's already, actually that's part of the reviewing already, so no need to, that row can be deleted. The feedback is already part of the review. Yeah, dihapus. That was already part of the review, week 2. Yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, go. Yeah, no. Yeah. And the launch, would we like to set tentative dates for the launch also on a Friday? On a Friday, Saturday, perhaps. Look at the dates. So that's going to be 10, 11. April 10, 11. And May 10, 11. May 10, 11. May 10, 11. Consortium launch May 10, 11. And we're done. Launched. Hah? 9 libur. Ya nanti dicek lagi. Ya nanti kita cek lagi ya. Sementara itu. Okay, so that's our work plan. Other comments, suggestions before? Kalau belum ada. Other comments, suggestions before we wrap up this work plan that we agreed on? All the dates are tentative. We will confirm next week. Workshop taking place, okay? Germany. Launching in Heidelberg. There's two venues which you need to think of. So there is the finalization workshop and the launching. Yeah. So that's 2 venues. So I don't know if maybe there are some suggestions, but there's 2. Okay, which one for sorry? Yeah. The suggestion at the moment is the launching is in Jogja, the workshop finalization could be elsewhere. So if there is any proposal of host for the finalization workshop, more than welcome. Purwakarta, Hotel Aston Purwakarta. Harus nyoba soalnya. Suka volunteer untuk jadi host finalization workshop. Kalau mau jalan jauh ya ke Kalimantan atau ke Padang. Nanti dalam proses akan digilir berikutnya. Ini arisan puter, ini bergilir nanti. Sementara boleh? Oke, bisa ditulis Mas Nandi yang finalization workshop venue Purwakarta. Nyoba hotel baru atau ke Batu Raden. Untuk ininya. Oke, anything else? Ya. Sudah, ya. Other suggestions? No? Yeah.
This afternoon we will finish up. After this is just the lunch and the closing ceremony, and we probably still have 1 or 2 hours left in the afternoon. Now I don't know whether we will use the time, additional time, depending on the PIC for the content, to more of dividing the work in revising the proposal, at least agreed on who will revise which part, and to make sure that we will have the proposal revised as we agreed. So that's my suggestions. Yeah, maybe
Nanti
1 hour is enough.
Go down to the list of PIC for the content. Okay, so for the PIC of the content, here the suggestion is this: after the closing, that we will get together for 1 or 2 hours to make use of the time and to divide the task. That's after the closing. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Yeah, I said agreed. So after the closing, we will just 1 hour just to work on the task divisions. Is that okay? Yeah, acceptable. Yeah. Okay. If yes, then I guess we can wrap this up. And so let's give an applause for all of us for having finalizing this work plan. And the time is, I return it to Mbak Glory as the Master of Ceremony.
Bapak dan Ibu, setelah istirahat, sholat, dan makan siang, kami harapkan bisa kembali ke ruangan ini sekitar jam 1:15 siang ini, atau sekitar 30 menit lagi dari sekarang. Terima kasih.